El Paso ISD's Board of Trustees approved the release of two legal opinions stating why the current employment of the board president does not pose a conflict of interest with his elected position. ABC 7's Tony Gutierrez joins us live in studio with those details. Tony?
Stephanie, in today's board meeting, community members said they were uneasy with Israel Irobali's work as executive director of the El Paso Association of Contractors, also known as EPAC. They believe he should recuse from voting on the potential closure of 10 elementary schools.
I don't plan to recuse myself from the vote. I plan to fight for my community and my families.
That's El Paso School District Board President Israel Irobali after El Paso ISD shared legal opinions regarding a potential conflict of interest involving him and his job as executive director of the El Paso Association of Contractors. One of the legal opinions came from the district's general counsel, Ceci Collins. Collins stated Irobali's job did not present a conflict of interest, saying in part, quote, "Unless the district has prospective business with the entity and trustee Irobali receives funds from the entity in excess of 10% of his gross income in the 12-month period before deliberations on a business relationship begins." The opinion stated EPAC was not a current vendor for the district. A second legal opinion from a local firm that works on retainer for the district also agreed Irobali's employment with EPAC did not present a conflict of interest. Board trustee Alex Cuellar believes there should be a third legal opinion that is issued by a firm with no association with the district.
We're dealing with many different types of projects, many different types of bond issues possibly. So if that's going to be a concern, then I think that needs to be brought up.
El Paso Teachers Association President Norma de la Rosa filed an ethics complaint against Irobali with the Texas Education Agency last week. De la Rosa says Irobali should not be present during board discussions regarding real estate and construction contracts, something she says Irobali has done.
There's no way of knowing, just how much influence he has as the executive director of EPAC, sitting back in the boardroom, having those discussions about contracts and money.
This is what Irobali had to say on those asking him to recuse himself from voting.
What we're seeing right now is an active, concentrated effort by those that don't agree with school closures to silence my voice to help their political opportunity of overturning that vote.
APISD Board of Trustees member Alex Cuellar says he will place an item on the next board meeting agenda, seeking a third outside legal opinion on the alleged conflict of interest. Reporting live in studio, Tony Gutierrez, ABC 7.